My neighbor's daughter has selective mutism. Yesterday she spoke to me for the first time, minus to warn me about something in my house. I've lived next door to the Miller family for 3 years. Their daughter Ellie is 9 and has selective mutism minus. She physically can't speak in certain situations due to severe anxiety. According to her mom, she talks normally at home, but hasn't spoken a single word at school or to any neighbors since they moved here. I've always made a point to wave and smile at Ellie, never pressuring her to respond. Sometimes she'd draw pictures and leave them in my mailbox minus beautiful detailed sketches of birds that visit my garden. I'd thank her mom, who explained that Ellie notices everything but processes it differently than most kids. Yesterday I was pruning my roses when I noticed Ellie standing at the edge of my yard, staring intensely at my house. Her face looked troubled, her hands fidgeting with the hem of her shirt. I smiled as usual, expecting her to just watch silently as she often did. Instead, she took 3 deliberate steps toward me, her entire body tense with effort. "Your chimney has bees," she said, her voice barely audible, each word clearly requiring immense courage. "Blonde of bees, they're making the bricks move." Then she turned and ran back to her house, disappearing inside. I stood frozen, processing what had just happened. Not only had Ellie spoken to me minus something her mother had said might never happen with neighbors minus, but her words made no sense. My chimney was perfectly fine. I'd had it inspected just last year. Still, the fact that she'd pushed through her anxiety to tell me something felt important. I grabbed a ladder and climbed up to check the chimney, expecting to find nothing. What I found sent chills down my spine. A massive honeybee colony had established itself inside my chimney. The vibration from thousands of bees was indeed causing slight movement in several bricks that had become loose. The beekeeper I called said the colony was likely 80,000 strong and had been growing for months. "If these bricks had fallen while you had a fire going," he explained, "you could have had a house fire." The whole structure was compromised. When I told Ellie's mom what happened, she burst into tears. "She's been watching your chimney for weeks through her bedroom window," she explained. "She kept drawing pictures of it with little dots around it, but I didn't understand what she was trying to tell me." She showed me Ellie's recent drawings minus detailed sketches of my chimney with tiny dots that I now recognized as bees and faint lines showing the subtle movement most people would never notice. This morning I found a new drawing in my mailbox minus my house with no dots around the chimney, and something she'd never included before, written words, in careful handwriting, "Your house is safe now." I later learned from her mom that Ellie had been diagnosed with hyperlexia alongside her selective mutism, minus an intense fascination with letters and patterns that gives her an almost supernatural ability to notice details others. Miss, the child, who couldn't speak to me, had been communicating all along minus. I just hadn't known how to listen, and when words became absolutely necessary, she found the courage to use them, despite the enormous anxiety it caused her. Sometimes the quietest voices have the most important things to say. I've started learning about selective mutism and sensory processing differences, not just to better understand Ellie, but because I owe my home minus and possibly my life minus to a little girl who pushed past her greatest fear to help a neighbor. The beekeeper relocated the colony safely, but more importantly, Ellie now waves back when I see her. Progress comes in many forms, and sometimes it takes 80,000 bees to build a bridge between 2 different worlds.